is a Monday, everybody. How many of us, a little tired today? Be honest. Be honest with the time change. Be honest with the time change. Put a 2 in the chat if you felt it. Put a 2 in the chat. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was downright exhausted when my alarm went off at 4:40. I was just, as soon as it went off, I go, it's 3:40. It's 3:40. That's why I'm tired. It's 3:40. That's why you're tired, Brock. And I sat there, Chad Free. I sat there and I was just like, I did it. I did it, Robin. I'm gonna close my eyes for 5 more minutes. I did it. I did. I'm guilty as charged. Guilty as charged this morning. So for those of you who think I just get out of bed and I'm so excited, I was like, I'm exhausted. It was a kids' weekend. Here's the topic. Here's the topic. For those of you taking notes, relentless. Relentless. You better be ready to go. Relentless. What's up, Alicia? What's up, Bob? We got a couple new people on here today. For our new people on here, say good morning in the chat. Say good morning in the chat. We want to know where you're calling us from. What's up, Michelle? Robin in Key West. Last week, Chad, I was cruising. I was cruising on the Skyline 7 Mile Bridge. I was having a good old time. Now, nothing. I had nothing of that. Now I'm like, I'm tired. It's a little cloudy out, but it's gonna be nice here in Charlotte. It's gonna be nice here in Charlotte. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to you all. Say good morning in the chat for all our people that are normally on the Facebook world. They'll get used to it. They'll get used to it. They'll cry for a little bit. They'll be all right. We'll get you over here to Zoom. In the Zoom world, we will make it happen. Dom, what's up, brother? John Hart. Kimberly, congratulations all to Kimberly. She is she had a little grandson over the weekend, little Frank, also my neighbor. So that was a nice little for their family. So if you got good news, put it in the chat. If you got good news. What's up, D? Hey, Chad Free, guess what? D, we got another brother from this from the litter that keeps on growing between Tate and Leo. D has now we're gonna have another little puppy friend, another little puppy brother. So
I was going to ask that. How cool is that?
Yes. So for those that don't know, Chad has a dog, Tate. I have Leo, little Cavapoo, and they are brothers from the same mother, different litter. And I was going through the dog world, and Chad brought Tate, and he's like petting little Tate. I'm like, where'd you get that dog? Where'd you get that dog? So yeah, so he got me into it, and then D kept seeing it, and so now D's got a little one coming through. So anyways, for those who are dog lovers, congratulations to D. She's gonna have a little one here very soon. So good morning, everybody. Good morning to you all. Say good morning in the chat. Say good morning into the chat, because Chad Free loves it. Chad Free loves it, and so does Alicia. So good morning to you guys. My name's Coach Brock Zevan. I'm a real estate coach, life coach, business coach, and you all know a DAD. So it was a DAD weekend, nonstop this weekend. For those of you who like mulch, here's a little mulch. I do not make any money off this mulch. I do not make any money off of this ad. But Lowe's has, you can get 4 bags for 10 bucks. 4 bags for 10 bucks is going on right here. I brought the bags out. Guess what? My neighbors started doing it too. I said I should have got some money from Lowe's. I should have got some money. Should have got some sort of commission, but not so much, Michelle. Guys, we're going to do a little sales here real quick. Sales. The sweatshirts, the hooded sweatshirts. If you want the hooded sweatshirt, let me just tell you, it feels good because it's kind of like cold in the morning, warm in the afternoon. The I Am Becoming sweatshirts, it's very catchy. I was wearing it in the grocery store. I wore it to the soccer game, and several people asked me about it. It's a really good icebreaker because they don't understand it. And so I've been having some really good conversations with people. So if you're looking for an icebreaker, here you go. The next thing I'm going to try to sell you on, I'm just being honest with you, is it is the spring market. It is the spring market. And boy, I had 50 minutes last week yesterday of dealing with some scripts and conversations with my book. But man, they were beating me up over commissions. I'm a dual agent, and they were beating me up hard. 50 minutes of non-stop objection handling And thank goodness for this book. And thank goodness for Amy Kane training me in my conditioning, because Train with Kane is on here too. Also, she was helping me with conditioning on that. But my book over here. Last but not least, for those of you who were part of James Sharp, guess what came in all? The bracelets. The bracelets came in that I think he had at least 75% of us crying on our Figure Out Friday. So if you want the bracelets, if you want the book, if you want the sweatshirt, you got to put yourself in the chat. Oh, Jay's doing as much as she can to get it into the chat, but put it in there. We got some links there for you. And of course, we have the Summer Success. We're going to be talking more about that. But James Sharp's book, and I will also make sure I send with you. Shoot, where'd it go? The acronym of STRONG and what it means. Just a really amazing story about his daughter and that death. And whew, it was heavy that day, wasn't it? It was a heavy conversation that we had. So now that we have that up and running, we got that going on. What's up, Christian? What's up, Paul? Sydney, good morning to you. Coach Jada, good morning to you all. If you could be Amanda, if you could be on Zoom, be on Zoom, be on video so I can see your smiling faces. Miss Papalorado Real Estate Group, good morning to you. I don't know if I said that right, but that's a very beautiful name. I love that name. I love that name. Good morning to you as well. Guys, as we do each and every morning, let's go to our affirmation. Let's do our affirmation that we have today. Guys, I'm going to ask you all to come off of mute, come off of mute, come off of mute. Say it like you mean it. Say it like you got something that you're going to shout it to tell your neighbor. Feel it, love on it, whatever it is deep inside of you. So come off of mute on the count of three. We'll all say it together. 1, 2, and 3.
Something
Good
good
is
Something
going
to
to happen
happen
to
to
me.
me.
Something
Something
good
good
is
is going to happen through me.
Through me.
through me.
So I was having a little conversation with my main man upstairs above. And I was like, God, what in the world am I going to talk about today? I just normally just things just come off of my, like, just come into my head and I just roll with it. But I wasn't too sure what I was going to talk about today, Kim. I really wasn't too sure. And I've been hemming and hawing and going through it. And I said, you know what? I do a reading. This is, as you can see, this book is brand new. Just came in the mail. My dad actually gave this to me September 2009. How crazy is that? September 2009. I've taped it up. It is one of the books I really, really enjoy. And I keep, they update it every month, but this one really resonated with me. So it is the July, August, September 2009. I started to read it. And my dad gives me like little blurbs and he sends them to me. And my dad and I have a very unique relationship with, like, we both read the same book each and every morning about prayers and devotion. And so we get to share devotions each morning. Even though we're not together, we read them and we think about each other. So it was funny. He'd be like, hey, what'd you think of this week's? I was like, yeah, it was a good one today. I don't have it in front of me, but today's was about just, if you have not, if you ask not, was the theme today, and believing in that by asking. And so I was reading today, and I'm going to read to you the other blurb that he sent me, and it was by Mark Twain. How many of you like Mark Twain, read Mark Twain? Anybody put a 7 in the chat if you like Mark Twain. Michelle has, several of you have. I just really enjoy Mark Twain, Stephanie. And I started to reading more and more about him, Bob. And this was something that came to my mind. So here's how the flow is going to go today, okay? And then we're just going to see how it goes. We're going to see how it goes today. I'm going to start off with opportunities. Then I'm going to go to what holds us back from opportunities with failure. And then I'm going to bring up somebody that I really enjoy, one of the presidents I read. And we're going to see how we can land this plane, Chad. We're going to see how we can land it. So here's the verse that I read every single morning, part of my prayers. Mark Twain said, 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than the ones you did do. So throw off your bowlines sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade winds, explore, dream, discover. So what happens, D, when I read this? I look at this and I say, where am I holding back? Where am I not, like, where am I a little fearful of doing something? I'm gonna be honest with you, this summer success summit that I'm doing, I'm a little fearful. Okay, it doesn't matter how much Robin and I talk, it doesn't matter, like, I've just never done an event this big at this much money and a different state that takes a plane ride for me to get there. So I'm a little bit kind of like, I'm not too sure about this. Put an 8 in the chat if you're contemplating something that you're not too sure about and it has you kind of in a stagnant position. You're kind of tiptoeing into it. You're not 100% sure. I don't know about this. This seems a little overwhelming. I don't know where to start. Yeah, there's things that could fall apart. This is very expensive. Am I talking to somebody right now? And so I read this each and every morning. And I say, you're going to be pissed off if you don't do this, Brock. You're going to be mad at yourself if you don't try to do this event in Key West. You're going to get you're going to read this and say, 20 years from now, what am I, 67 years old? That seems strange. At 67 years old, I'm going to be like, you know what? I wish I did that Key West event. I wonder what would have happened. So I want you all right now, think about this. This is how crazy it gets. This is a perspective for you. Okay? Think about where you were 20 years ago. Think about it. Let's just think. I was 27. Think about it. Where were you 20 years ago that you wish you did something? Where were you 20 years ago? Most of us probably can't even remember. So whatever pain, emotion, trauma, little nervousness, you won't remember it. It's going to be okay. And that's what I tell myself. Like, even if I fall flat on my face at the Key West event, and it's just me and Robin there, I got to believe some of it. Maybe I know Chad Bree's going to be there. Michelle's going to be there. There'll be a couple of you there. I know. But even if there's only 5 of us and we're looking at each other and I'm over in the corner crying because I'm like, damn, I thought this, like, it's going to be okay. Because we can't even remember what 20 years ago. I do, when I started to think about it, like where I was 20 years ago, I was in my prime partying, drinking days. There was from 27 to 30, all it was on. It's a little crazy world of mine. But in 20 years from now, I want to think about that. So many of us, and this is what I read each and every morning. We'll put it on the Facebook group. If you're not in the Facebook group, we'll put in the link there, the Brock Zevan's Mindset Motivational Facebook group there. So all this stuff is on there. And so what happens is, where's Justine? Is Justine on here? Justine's getting ready to do a large event in Atlanta tomorrow. Her first event. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm just butting your ears up if you don't like profanity. She's shitting a brick right now. She's a little nervous. She's a little nervous, all because it's her first event. Chad, you remember your first time going on stage? You remember your first event? How many of you remember doing something? Amy Kane, you remember your first time doing something? How many of you, your first time going to your listing, your first time doing your showing, your first time going through your closing, your first time talking to your big client, your first time doing your move, Jada, your first financial contract, Christian, whatever it might be, your first time doing something, you get a little nervous. And I want you to seize that moment because that's a growth opportunity, y'all. That's a growth opportunity. Sydney, speaking, yeah. Do you know the number one fear is public speaking? The number one fear is public speaking. And so I went through this and I was just like, it's the fear of failure. So I went into one of my books, one of my favorite presidents. I'm going to share with you something on here. Because in this moment of failure, in this moment of fear, I want to share with you a story. 100% of the shots you don't take don't go in, by Wayne Gretzky. So if I don't put forth any effort, if I don't make an attempt, the summit does not happen. It's pretty much 100% guaranteed that if I don't put action towards it, it's not happening. If you don't take one shot 100% of the time, it's not going to happen. It goes on and says this: many times we convince ourselves that it is easier not to try than taking risks. It is easier not to try than risk failing. However, we can challenge ourselves. We can also reach new levels that we couldn't reach without taking a chance. So let me give you this laundry list. I have quite a laundry list myself, but this one seems to be a little bit more for the country. Look at this famous figure. He failed in business in 1831. Defeated for legislation in 1832. Now keep track of these dates. All these dates are important. 1831 was the first date. 1832, defeated in legislation. Second failure in business in 1833. Defeated for speaker in 1838. Defeated for elector in 1840. Defeated for Congress in 1843. In case you're wondering, I'm at 12 years he's been defeated. 12 years. Not 12 hours, not 12 days, not 12 months, 12 years. Defeated for Congress again in 1848. Defeated for Senate in 1855. Defeated for Vice President in 1856. Defeated for Senate again in 1858. And in 1860, almost 30 years later, he became the 16th president of the United States, Abraham Lincoln. 30 years. Some of us cry over 30 days. Brock, I don't think I can do it. My kids right now are crying over Lent, 40 days trying to give up something. Try to tell kids to try to give up something during Lent right now, and it's like you really need like an act of Congress. How many of you have been defeated over and over and over again? I shared with our leadership team over the weekend some of my stories to give them a perspective of where I came from. In my journey that I've been through. I'm going in the 8 years of going up and down in real estate, and there were many times when, see, I was a school teacher. In case you don't know, I taught school for 12 years. I was an assistant principal, and I was a football coach. That's why I love following Chad's son. Like I truly, like, that is really my goal. If you were to look at my goal is in 5 years that I make enough money, passive income, that I can go back to the sidelines and coach high school football again. That truly is my goal. Because I saw somebody do it when I was a coach, and I asked him, I said, Coach Hap, how do you, you're not a teacher? How do you do this? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, how do you come over here and coach football and not be at work? Because I had a limiting belief. I didn't know you could even do that. And so he's like, well, my job, my business runs itself, and I just, I make enough money that I want to give back. I played football, so now I want to coach it. I thought that was the coolest thing. Little did I know, that was like over 10 years ago. Little did I know, God just took a little seed and he says, I'm going to plant this in you. I'm going to plant this in you. So maybe in 20 years, you'll be able to do this. Just like Abraham Lincoln took the 30-year plan. Maybe I'm on a 20-year plan. But that's what I think about. So I was a school teacher And I wanted to get into real estate. I wanted to get into this. And I had more limiting beliefs than you possibly can imagine. I was just getting married, and every failure you possibly, and I'm speaking to somebody because you have a big decision to make. Somebody has a big decision to make. Somebody has a big financial decision to make. Somebody's trying to figure out how, like, as the time keeps going, because it doesn't stop. I haven't seen a sunset not come up yet. Like, it continuously takes place, but somebody is kind of holding back in a big decision they need to make. And so what happens is we get stagnant in this point because we're scared to fail. And so during my term of me going and growing through the chaos and the mess that I was going to, I was scared out of my mind to leave teaching. Why? It wasn't because, I mean, there was more money opportunity, but there wasn't consistent money. How many of you get a little nervous over consistent money? I'm a real estate agent and a coach, all. I don't know when my next paycheck comes in. I don't know when my next deal lands. Over time, I've learned how to grow through this in the sales commission world. But as a school teacher, I knew when I was getting paid. How many of you remember seeing your parents? I used to have it in the calendar. They circled payday. It was on the family calendar. It was like circled payday. It was highlighted in yellow. It was payday. When I was a teacher, we knew the second Friday of every month, it was payday. And guess what? We would go to happy hour with all the teachers. We couldn't wait to spend the money. That was what we knew. Just like many people, they know when they get paid, and then they have it factored out when they pay their bills, and then they hope and pray there's a little bit of money left. We're my financial gurus. I'm sure you guys hear more stories about that than I do. Chad, Christian, John, you probably hear these type of things. John's at a different level, but for the most part, we hear that. I pay my bills and I hope I have enough. If you're like that, you need to get out of the rat race and you need to read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or talk to one of the financial gurus on here. It's not a fun rat race. I lived it. It wasn't very exciting. And so during this time period, when I was going through this, I had more challenges than you possibly can imagine. I'm not any different than anybody else on here. But I was just failing forward. Lost my license in 2019. My drinking stopped in 2016. But I lost my license, had a newborn, cars repossessed, both my cars. When I do a job haul, I don't make sure I do just one car. I want both cars repossessed. Foreclosure notices. All these things. And you know what takes place? I think I'm going to start my own team. I think I'm going to start my own real estate team. Rock, you got all this craziness going on, all this chaos. Like you're going to start a real estate team at this point. But you know what God put inside of me? A lot of resilience, a lot of relentlessness. And some of you aren't, like, I'm still here today. As much nonsense, $153,000 in IRS debt. Still here today. DSS called against me. That was hell, though. That was not fun. I don't wish anybody DSS against your kids. Just because somebody didn't like me, they called me out on it. I was building a new office. Somebody didn't like me. They called the county on me, the town on me, said I didn't have building permits. I had paused building it out. I only had 10 days to do it in. All these things are. You'll be more disappointed in the things you didn't do than the ones you did do. That to me is the most important line. The things you didn't do. There's some of you on here not doing what God put inside of you today to do. There's a message, there's a vision, there's a dream, there's a goal, there's an opportunity that you have that is sitting in your mind. and you know it. You can feel it. He's like, damn, is he talking to me right now? There's something. I don't care what age you are. I don't care how young you are. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how financially in debt you are. I don't care if your credit cards are maxed out. I get it. I understand. I took every ounce. I even talked to my contract. I was like, listen, bud, Rod, God bless Rod. I was like, Rod, listen, I know I don't have any money, but I'm expecting a closing check next month. Could I pay you then? Brother, yeah, man, I'll take care of you. I'll help you out. See, you can't take these journeys by yourself. If you looked at Abraham Lincoln's story, and if you watch his movie and you watch his show or you read about him, he didn't take the journey by himself. Did you know at the age of 8, his father left him? And he went to go find another woman. For 3 years, left him at 8 years old with him and his sister, who was like 11 or 12. So in the moments, I love the story of Footprints, the poem of Footprints, when God is walking with you on the beach and you guys are having a nice little time and God's there and he's holding your hand and things seem great. And then all of a sudden, it gets tough. It gets dark. It gets hard. In those moments, we look back and we only see one footprints in the sand. And we're like, damn, you left me. No, that's when the people around you, that's when the verse, the Bible verse, ironically came back into my head that I read with my dad. And he says, you have not if you ask not. If you don't start asking people for help, if you continue on your victim card, if you just say, I can't do it, 20 years from now, you're going to be wishing that you had back today. 20 years from now, you're going to be like, damn, I wish I did that. I don't know why I didn't do that. You do know why. All those failures, when I had to build the office, do all this nonsense, this was setting me up to go through a success summit to be like, you can do that. If you can do that, you can do this. So my challenge for you today, just like it is at the end, I'll read the ending of Mark Twain. Sail away from the safe harbor. Push yourself off from the dock all. Catch the trade wind. Explore. He has explore period. Dream period. Discover. Discover yourself. Take that chance today. Do something that you didn't think you could do today. Put a 6 in the chat if you're willing to do that today. Put a 6 in the chat if you're willing. You know what? I'm going to go on the ledge today. I'm going to do something today. I want you to put a 6 in the chat if you really think that today, that you really feel I'm going to do it. You're going to be fine. I promise you. I promise you you're going to be fine. But you'll be more pissed off at yourself if you don't do it. Guys, that is my message that I got here for you today. It is 8:45. Anybody got anything they would like to conclude with? Anything they would like to add? The hoodie, the sweatshirts, the book, the Key West, all our Facebook stuff's in the chat. If you like today, put a 5 in the chat, put a love in the chat, put a 5 in the chat. If you got anything you'd like to say, come off of mute. We got about a minute or so. Anybody's got anything they like to add, say, love on, not love on. Maybe you didn't like what I said. Maybe you didn't like it. Maybe you did it. I don't know. You won't hurt my feelings because it is that time anyways. Because guess what? I just got goosebumps thinking about Chad Free coming on tomorrow at 8:15. Goosebumps Chad Free coming on tomorrow at 8:15. Oh, guys, remember, tell somebody that's on here. Tell somebody that's on here that they need to be on here for this show so you can get a little spark to loosen yourself up, get yourself geared up. Guys, I appreciate y'all. If there's anything we could do, the sweatshirts, the bracelets, the books, whatever it might be, this summer's success, come on out. Love to have you. Tomorrow morning, 8:15 Eastern time, our main man, Mr. Chad Freeze, back in the saddle on a Tuesday. I appreciate y'all. God bless you. I'm off to bring Brielle to school. See ya.